Alright, what is going on, everybody? So today we're going to be doing the ultimate mid-major tournament. So yeah, this is just going to be a bracket of the 28 best mid-majors from this past season. Now remember, it's from the past season, so the 2022-23 season. It's not going to be based on next season. It's not going to be any of that because Kennesaw State's in here. I know a lot of people are saying Kennesaw State is not going to be very good next season. So yeah, let's just get into this. So yeah, like I said, 28 best mid-majors from last season. Houston is not going to be in here because they're transitioning to the Big 12. I don't really want to put all that in here. I know this past season they were in the American, but just for the sake of this tournament, we're just not going to have Houston in here. So, yeah, 1 seed, we got San Diego State, who's the best team, who, in my opinion, is the best mid-major in the country last season, because obviously they made the national championship, and they won the Mountain West. So, yeah, they're going to be the 1 seed, and they're going to be getting a bye. They're going to be taking on either Utah Valley or UAB, so let's simulate that game. All right, so we got Utah Valley versus UAB here. Let's see who wins this game. And it is going to be UAB taking the win by just 1. Yeah, that's a huge win for UAB, led by Jordan Walker, who had 28 points in that game. Utah Valley actually won the first half, but UAB did win the second half, scoring 44 points. And a high-scoring second half as well. So, yeah, this is our first game. UAB will move on to play San Diego State. All right, next game we've got here is Sam Houston versus Kent State. Sam Houston, 25-7, has a solid NIT run, and they did actually Utah Valley. I forget who they lost to, in the WAC conference tournament, but yeah, 1 and 2 seed Utah Valley, Sam Houston. They're in this top 28. But they lost in their conference tournaments, obviously. But yeah, they're taking on Kent State, 28-6, won the MAC. And it's going to be Kent State winning by just single digits in a high-scoring affair. So they're going to be moving on to the next round. All right, so next up here, we've got 28 seed Liberty taking on the 5 seed Charleston. So yeah, let's see how this game goes. Liberty lost in the ASUN final. Charleston lost in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and Liberty gets the huge upset on Charleston, putting up 89 on them. Another high-scoring affair, and Darius McGee had 36 points. Wow. They had 60 second-half points. Charleston was up 13 in the first half, but Liberty is able to come back and get the win and move on to the next round. You love to see that, man. Yeah, Liberty, they're moving on to the next round. All right, next up, we've got Montana State, which is the 21 seed versus the 12 seed North Texas. Now, North Texas didn't even make the NCAA tournament, but Montana State did make March Madness. They were the 14th seed, who put up a solid fight against Kansas State. But yeah, let's see how this game goes. Potential upset, maybe. And North Texas does beat Montana State by 16, who Montana State, they actually won the first half. But yeah, they won the first half 26-24, but North Texas was able to prevail and get a huge second half, scoring 42. Tyler Perry had 18. Kai Huntsberry had 14 for them. but North Texas is moving. All right, next up, we've got the number 20 seed Grand Canyon versus the 13th seed Kennesaw State. So, yeah, Grand Canyon was a 5 seed in the WAC tournament, but they ended up winning, and 14th seed, they put up a solid fight against Gonzaga, and Kennesaw State was actually up 13 on Xavier at one point in the second half in March Madness, but they did end up losing. Let's see who wins this game. So it is going to be Grand Canyon pulling off the upset, beating them by 3. They were down 4 in the first half. They actually allowed 40 points from Kennesaw State, but then they scored 42 points in the second half, and they are moving on. All right, next up, we've got 19th seeded Fairleigh Dickinson taking on 14th seed UC Santa Barbara. And we all know Fairleigh Dickinson upset number 1 seed Purdue in March Madness, which is just absolutely insane. The biggest upset of all time, in my opinion. But yeah, let's see who wins this game. UC Santa Barbara, the higher seed. And it's going to be Fairleigh Dickinson pulling off yet another upset on UC Santa Barbara. So, yeah, 19 seeded Fairleigh Dickinson will move on. All right, so I accidentally simulated this before, but it was Colgate, number 22 versus number 11 Princeton, and Princeton did end up getting the win by 7. So yeah, Princeton will move on. They made it to the Sweet 16 in March Madness in real life. So yeah, that's also another unbelievable Cinderella story. But yeah, they are moving on. All right, next up we got number 27 Texas A&M Corpus Christi versus number 6 Oral Roberts. And yeah, so for some reason they don't have the latest roster for Texas A&M Corpus Christi on this simulation website. This is What If Sports, by the way, is for some reason their 2016-17 season. So I do apologize for that, but there's nothing I can really do about that. So really, we're just going to go with it and see what happens, I guess. And it is going to be Oral Roberts beating Texas A&M Corpus Christi by 13. So Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they put up a solid fight. They put up 77 on them, but is not enough, and Oral Roberts will move on. All right, next up, we've got number 26 seed Bradley taking on number 7 seed Furman, and Furman got that unbelievable upset, that steal at the end of the game. I actually picked Furman to beat Virginia, so I was really excited about that. But let's see who wins this game. Maybe Bradley can pull off an upset here. And Furman does prevail, and they win by 10. So that's a good win by Furman. They're moving on. All right, next up, we've got the 23-seeded Vermont taking on the 10-seeded Drake Bulldogs. And yeah, so Vermont, they lost to Marquette in March Madness. So did Drake, and I actually picked Drake in one of my brackets, just one of my brackets. So they were up by 7 to Miami at one point, but they did end up losing. But let's see who wins this game, and it's gonna be the Vermont Catamounts beating Drake, upsetting Drake by 9, and this is wow. That's one of the bigger upsets. We saw Liberty beat Charleston. But, yeah, that is a huge win for Vermont, and they are moving on. Catamounts moving on. All right, so I accidentally simulated this one again, but Iona does end up beating Toledo 94-90 in a really close game, a really good game as well. Ray J. Dennis had 32 for the Toledo Rockets, and Nelly Jr. Joseph had 21, and Walter Clayton Jr. and Dennis Jenkins both had 18 for Iona. So Iona is moving on. All right, so next up we've got UAB versus San Diego State. This is the start of the second round, and yeah, let's see who wins this game. San Diego State got a bye in the first round. But it is going to be UAB upsetting the San Diego State Aztecs. Wow. San Diego State doesn't even win a game in the mid-major ultimate mid-major tournament, and they make the national championship in March Madness in real life. So that's crazy. But UAB, they're moving on, man. All right, next up, we've got 9th seeded Louisiana taking on 8th seeded Kent State. Let's see who wins this game. A nice 8-9 matchup here in the second round. And it's going to be Kent State actually blowing out Louisiana, kind of. Yeah, I mean, blowing them out by 27. It was kind of a close game in the first half. Wow, that's interesting. Kent State will be moving on to the next round. All right, next up, we've got Liberty, number 28, who just had that massive upset on Charleston, taking on the number 12 seed, North Texas. Let's see who wins this game. Maybe Liberty, and Liberty wins. The 28th seed Liberty Flames are moving on to the third round as they beat North Texas 82-80. Maybe it's the full potential we're seeing out of Liberty as they beat them. And yeah, they won the first half. North Texas, it was a good game though. But Liberty, they're moving. All right, now we've got 20-seeded Grand Canyon taking on 4-seeded St. Mary's, and St. Mary's got a bye in the first round. Let's see who wins this game, and Grand Canyon move on once again. And no, they cannot. St. Mary's holds off a Grand Canyon run. Still a great run by Grand Canyon getting the upset in round 1, but St. Mary's is moving on. All right, next up we've got Fairleigh Dickinson taking on the Gonzaga Bulldogs, who 3-seed Gonzaga, they got a bye in round 1. Fairleigh Dickinson pulled off another upset against 14th-seeded UC Santa Barbara in round 1. Can they keep it going? We shall see. And, Gonzaga, man, they won by a lot, man. I love Fairleigh Dickinson. This doesn't seem realistic, though. I feel like Fairleigh Dickinson would have put up. All right, Gonzaga wins. Gonzaga's moving on to the third round. All right, next up we got 11-seeded Princeton taking on 6-seeded Oral Roberts. See who wins this game. And it is going to be Princeton putting up 102 on Oral Roberts in a very high-scoring affair. This is higher than some NBA games. Man, Oral Roberts puts up 95, but Princeton able to prevail and win by 7. Princeton is moving on. All right, we've got Vermont taking on Furman here in round 2. Vermont upset Drake in round 1. Let's see who wins this game. It is going to be Furman moving on by 6. So a really good run by Vermont, but they lose in the second round. Furman will move on. All right, so now we've got Florida Atlantic versus Iona. And this is the last game of round 2. Iona is the 15th seed, and they're taking on 2-seed Florida Atlantic, who got a bye in round 1. And it is going to be Iona upsetting Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic and San Diego State, 2 teams that face off in the Final Four, are out in their first. They don't even win a game in this tournament. That's crazy. Wow. Iona gets the win by 3. They were losing the first half, but they do win, and they're moving on. All right, next up, we've got UAB and Kent State. Let's see who wins this game. Does UAB keep their magical run alive? And No, Kent State prevails, and they are moving on to the next round. They win 85-83. So yeah, 8-seeded Kent State moving on. All right, 28-seeded Liberty, the lowest seed in the tournament, taking on 4-seeded St. Mary's. Let's see what happens, man. And it is gonna be Liberty. There's no way. The Liberty Flames are moving on once again. They get the win 89-80. This magical run continues for Liberty. Let's go, man. You love to see it. All right, Gonzaga versus Princeton here. 11th seed Princeton, 3 seed Gonzaga. Who moves on to the Final Four? And it is going to be Princeton. Oh, my goodness. That means all the 4 seeds, all the 4 seeds, 1, 2, 3, and 4 seeds are out. All the teams with a bye are out. So, oh my goodness, Princeton, their magical run continues. They're moving on to the next. All right, we have 15-seeded Iona taking on the 7th-seeded Furman Paladins. Let's see who goes on to the Final Four, final spot in the Final Four. And it's going to be the Furman Paladins. Shout out to them. They prevent Iona continuing on their magical run. So, yeah, they beat him by 4, 71-67. Furman is in the Final Four. All right, and to start the Final Four here, we have Liberty, 28 seed, the lowest seed in this tournament, taking on Kent State, who's the 8th seed. Let's see who is moving on to the Mid-Major National Championship 2022-23. And, oh, my goodness. It's Liberty, man. Are you serious, bro? That's unbelievable for Liberty, man. They are moving on. I know this is just a simulation, but I'm genuinely getting excited for them, man. We're seeing their full potential in this simulation. They're moving on to the Mid-Major National Championship. All right, now we've got the last game of the Final Four, obviously, and this is going to be Princeton versus Furman. Whoever wins this game will take on 28 seed Liberty. So, yeah, it is going to be the Princeton Tigers moving on to the Mid-Major National Championship game as they beat Furman 95-88. So, yeah, we've got a solid national championship in store. It's going to be a 28 seed versus the 11th seed. Wow. All right, it all comes down to this. The Mid-Major National Championship for the 2022-23 college basketball season. Wow, man, this is crazy, this tournament. But it's going to be Liberty versus Princeton, the 28th seed versus the 11th seed. Drop your pick right now in the comments. Who's it going to be? Who are you guys taking? And it is going to be the Liberty Flames. The Liberty Flames are your 28th seed, the lowest seed in this tournament, and they have just won the Mid-Major National Championship. Wow, this simulation, I love this. I really like What If Sports. This simulation is crazy, man. Wow, what a run for Liberty. They're the lowest seed in this tournament, and they just won the national championship. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think of this video. I think it was a fun concept. This kind of makes me want to do more of these custom brackets. But, yeah, if you guys do want to see the full bracket, here it is. So this is the full mid-major tournament bracket that just went down. And, yeah, as you can see, all the upsets. There's the Elite Eight here. And, yeah, there's the Final Four, unexpected Final Four, and then obviously an unexpected championship and champion in the lowest seed in this tournament. I almost didn't even put them in this tournament. I was considering like putting Hofstra in this tournament, Howard, Morehead State, but Liberty are your 2022-23 mid-major national champions. Let me know what you guys think of this and subscribe for more mid-major college basketball content. And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.